noble truth that the Buddha taught is that life is suffering, dukkha. Nobody is exempt from suffering. There are different kinds, and then for some it is financial problems, I would say for most. And for people who have money, it is the loss of someone, meaning the death of someone, or an incurable disease, or a disease that that is chronic, or a psychological problem. You have problems everywhere, creating suffering. So necessarily life is dukkha, and everybody is suffering. And the Buddha wanted to find a solution, and that solution is nirvana, taking the mind to a thought-free state, an ego-free state, and then in which there is liberation. And you see the same kind of teaching in the Bhagavad Gita also, but it is dramatized. And I thought that I would talk about it to relieve people, to help relieve people of suffering. And here is Arjuna, and who is telling Krishna, the God in human form, say, I can't do anything about it. I am overwhelmed with sorrow, and my senses have no power, and I am immobilized. Can you do something to help me? And Krishna goes to say that your suffering is out of ignorance. And you seem to be justifying your suffering by saying that, talking about ethics and so forth. And you have a very spurious logic. Suffering does not belong to an enlightened person. Suffering is due to identity with this body, and not identity with the soul. Look at this body. Krishna goes on to say that the body is, starts its career as like a worm, that got developed through the egg and the sperm, and from that worm it comes out of the mother's womb as a child, and then it grows into, in the womb also, the womb has a lot of problems. It can be, without God's help, it could be aborted any time out. But then when the child comes out of the womb, there are innumerable problems, problem after problem. But they are problems only when you look at life, in terms of the body. And the body is not real. The body is an illusion. It is not going to be there forever. It's going to die someday. It gets getting old day by day. And it is gone one day, and then everybody is going to cry over this dead body. But nobody cares about what is beyond the body, what makes the body to function. How are you able to breathe? How the heart is beating? It's the God behind. So identity with the body, identity with the physical world, identified with success and failure is the problem. And once you are able to get beyond and identify yourself with the soul, which is the real you, the body is not you, then all the sufferings will be gone momentarily. I just want to say that, this is not new, everybody has talked about it, but it's a new perspective. The new perspective is, you think that the soul is something that you cannot see, that's something you cannot relate to. All that you can relate to is the body and the happenings, whether they are good or bad, and then that they sway your experience or emotions in one way or another, and that's the problem. Now start living life in another way with a different set of values, and that is, the soul is real and it is indestructible, and my identity is going to be with that soul and not with the world or worldly success, or with the body or the body's health. The body's health is not going to be there forever. The worldly success also is not guaranteed. It goes back, up and down. And why are you so preoccupied with this world's success? So if you have an attitude, if you develop an attitude that I'm going to live by the soul, by God, and by the scriptures, and not by my ego or my senses. And the moment you begin to get that deep into yourself, then you will find the whole world changes. Imagine the body as unreal. Imagine your success and failure are unreal, and not get identified with them. Even when I am sitting here and talking to you, and then I consider the whole body as Maya, illusion. And I have experienced that. Even when you sleep on the bed, look at different parts of the body, they are Maya. Unfortunately, we keep thinking that they are real, and that is the problem. Just imagine, even this hand and is just Maya. And if you develop this attitude over a period of time, what happens is, then you will be liberated from the body identity. You will be liberated from your mind identity. You will be liberated from your success, liberated from your failure. And you are here to understand this. There is a purpose that you have been put on this earth plane, and the purpose is just to understand the true reality behind the flesh and blood reality. You are never born, you never died, and that is the reality. You are always in bliss, ananda. It is not a philosophy, just try to live. When you are overwhelmed with, say, suffering, I have no money, I have no relationship, and I have this disease, and it is due to one thing, identity with the body. The second thing that you need to do is to leave everything to God. And then that will solve every problem. That will solve every problem. Krishna is not just giving you a philosophy. He says in the next chapter, the third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, he talks about, if you want money, do a fire ritual, because there was in the beginning there was a contract between the human beings and the divine. If you don't have money, then you do a fire ritual, and the gods will give you money, and whatever you desire, Ishtan Bhogan, Ho Deva Dasayanti Yajna Bhavitaha, they will give you whatever you want. So he says that too. But that's not a big deal. What is the big deal is you have to realize, self-realization, that your bliss will always be there. When your identity is with God, and that is the true identity. And in that true identity, you feel that you are yourself Ananda, you are yourself God. Then suffering will not have its strong hold on you. Most people end up identifying with the body and identifying with this worldly life and creating more karma than is needed. When you live a life of God, then you won't be involved in more karma. All our problems in modern times is because that our identity is with the body, the sense pleasures, and in order to do that we need more money. So everybody is going crazy and creating more karma. So I've been thinking about what can anybody do without money to deal with your suffering. Identify with your soul. This is not it. And secondly, turn your life to God. Give it to Him. And it is He who gave you life. And you will see changes happening momentarily. You don't have to wait for too long. Even when you have a disease, and then when you turn your life to Him, He will take care of everything. God bless.